finally finished your airplane. We're glad you brought it here. You worked real hard and did your best. You really persevered. Hundreds of hours reading plans. You finally get to fly. You paid for gas and tested your plane, and now you own the sky. You planned your flight to Oshkosh. You followed the tracks to Fisk. You rocked your wings and turned to base and landed on the disc.
Well, isn't that special? It's what happens here when you fly your newly completed aircraft to the motherland in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Introducing Jay and Jeanne Henry. They built this beautiful example of a Kitfox at their base in Utah and completed it just days before the show. Then flew this brand new aircraft all the way here, utilizing the task-based Phase 1 testing set up by EAA. So obviously I've never registered an aircraft to be judged, but apparently this is where you go to do that. So I'm going to kind of capture the process that you have to go through to be able to register your aircraft.
Yeah, we do them all day long.
Can you explain the process of registering your aircraft?
Sure. So you just come up, when the campers come in, they tell us whether they need camping, wristbands, and to register their plane. And it's real simple. We ask them a couple of questions. It's helpful if they have their EAA number handy, but if not, we can look it up by their last name. And it takes just a few minutes, and sometimes we're empty and sometimes we're busy. We appreciate people being patient when we're busy. And it's just a simple process. A few questions in the computer, and we get stuff for your register your plane. You get a prop card and some goodies. If you flow your experimental in, you get a nice mug, and you get a patch. And every year it's a different patch, so people like to collect them. And then you go away happy. And we're happy we got to help.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Nancy.
Okay.
At Oshkosh 2024, we have a brand spanking new, still wet paint practically, Kitfox at the booth here at Kitfox. So guys, introduce yourselves real quick and we'll talk shop.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jay and this is Jeanne. We're the Henrys, and this is our labor of love for the last 4.5 years.
And which specific model of Kitfox is this?
This is a Kitfox 7 STI, the STOL inspired model. Fly in the backcountry, we live in the mountains, so this is the perfect tool for us to get back and play and go camping and fishing and just have fun. It's just, this airplane is all about fun.
Okay. And which engine did you choose to build your aircraft with?
Well, we chose the Rotax 915. At the time we started building, the 916 wasn't available. The airplane really doesn't need a 916, but it's an awesome engine. And if I had it to do over again and it was today, I would probably choose the 916 for the little extra horsepower in case we ever put it on floats.
Sure.
This thing absolutely amazed me. My first flight was taking off for Oshkosh.
On Saturday, 2 days ago.
On Saturday. And
so wait a minute. Explain that, because this is a question that everybody's going to ask you.
Okay.
You just finished this Wednesday. And you're here now, which is Monday, which actually you arrived Saturday? Sunday. Okay. Yeah. So no 40 hours have been flown off. How did you accomplish that?
No, thanks to EAA and all their work. They have worked with the FAA for years to get the task-based Phase 1 fly-off. You can do it in as little as 8 hours. There's a book you buy at the EAA bookstore over here, and it's got task cards. There's 19 cards, and if you organize it properly, you can do it, and the FAA says a minimum 8 hours. We did it. We did the test cards in less than 8 hours, but she continued flying because she was having fun and flew off the 8 hours. And then we got on the airplane and flew here the next day.
Yeah.
And very important to point out, both of you fly, both of you are pilots, correct?
I am not.
You are not?
I am a student pilot.
And your wife is a pilot?
Yeah.
My wife is a pilot with about 30,000 hours.
I did the test flying on Thursday and Friday, and we actually finished up the airplane Friday evening. We actually finished off with the glare shield. That was the last piece of of the puzzle to put together. And we launched Saturday morning. First time he'd ever been in the airplane flying in it. So he did a lot of the flying on Saturday getting here, and then yesterday flying in, we got as far as Esterville, Iowa, and did the last 2 legs yesterday morning. We landed here probably about 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, about 1.
So I did the flying yesterday and came in and had the whole entourage here, our whole Kitfox family waiting for us to come in and arrive. And
so there's a couple of firsts for you guys, right? This is the first time flying into Oshkosh?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
First time flying with a brand new airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And first time being judged.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, so we'll talk about the outside, kind of work our way into the inside of the aircraft, but you guys did a really great job in the paint job, and what was the process of, well, let me back up a second before that. This is your first time ever working with fabric, and what was that like for you?
It was almost therapeutic. We took the EAA class, the 2-day class, and learned how to do the fabric, and it's not hard, it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, I've probably got 100 hours in a wing.
And I have 100 hours of ironing.
A lot of ironing, and then stitching the wings. That took a couple of days, but it was just this same process over and over, and paying attention to detail.
So if somebody had never covered anything before, which you guys had never, where's a good place to start having done this? If you were to start over, where would you start as a newbie?
I wouldn't start where I started. I started with the horizontals. Don't do that, because you got all those curves to go around. Start with a wing, something big and flat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's quite simple. Take the class from EAA, or go over here and take the class that Waldo puts on every year here at Oshkosh.
Yeah.
He is the best polyfiber guy in the world.
And what is so it's the polyfiber system is what you guys use?
It's a polyfiber system.
Okay.
It's an involved process. You glue the fabric, you iron the fabric, and then you brush a coat of poly brush, they call it. Then you tape all your seams. Then you spray 2 coats of poly brush. Then you spray 2 coats of poly spray, which has the UV protectant in it. You sand that, you spray another coat, and now you're ready for paint.
Okay. So let's go back to that. You got a really good design here, and what software did you use, or pen and paper, or how did you come up with the scheme?
Pen and paper, and you know, there's no original design anywhere. I saw a similar design that scheme designers had done, and I sketched it out on a Kitfox plan, and then I sent it to them, and they actually did it down to a 1/16 of an inch design so we could reproduce it. But every one of these lines was pulled by hand with tape.
All right, I'm gonna pop in here real quick to talk about our sponsors. As you know, I can't do this all on my own. We got to have somebody to help fuel that truck. We try really hard to work with sponsors that provide a good service and a good quality product. So let's talk about those guys right now. Dynon Avionics at Dynon.com, the premier provider of glass panel avionics systems for experimental and light sport aircraft. Wide Open Door Company at WideOpenDoorCo.com, your premier destination for high-quality doors, including aircraft hangar doors. Warp Drive Propellers at WarpDriveInc.com, providing quality, solid carbon fiber propellers for many light sport and experimental aircraft. And visit our website at ExperimentalAircraftChannel.com for new videos and easy-to-navigate playlists, and so much more. Speaking of fueling that truck, if you guys want to join us on our Patreon page, become patrons of this channel, just search on Patreon for Experimental Aircraft Channel. Sign up. There's several different levels, so check that out. All right, so give us kind of a cockpit tour and what you guys decided to use for instrumentation.
Well, we decided we wanted to fly this to all 4 corners of the U.S.
Okay.
So it's full IFR. We went his and hers 10-inch Garmin panels, 3-axis autopilot, so we got a yaw damper, and people say, yaw damper in a Kitfox? Well, yeah, it's really nice. It works really well. We've got the GNX 375 Navigator. We've got the radar altimeter height advisor that Garmin came out with last year. The panel is backlit, and that came from Midwest Panel. We had them cut the panel and do our wiring diagram, and they were great support as well. The wiring was, it was a chore, but it was one of the more pleasurable parts of the build. I did all the wiring myself, but I had support when I had a question. They were right there. Midwest is great to work with.
Yeah, Midwest Panel builders.
And it was just a pleasurable deal. Wires scare a lot of people. I mean, I just went point to point, did it one at a time, and there were, I don't know, well over 1,000 connections in here, and I had one backwards. There were 2 white wires going to the headset and the mic, and the push to talk were backwards, and they were both white.
All right, so being that you got some real cross country on this aircraft now, coming to Oshkosh, you could probably share with us some real numbers. So what does this thing perform at, both on takeoff and cruise and stall and all that?
Takeoff, I was completely amazed. Like we said earlier, the first time I flew in this airplane was on the trip here. We went down the runway, it seemed like 20 feet, I'm sure it was 150 feet, and we were off and going up like an elevator at 1,400 feet a minute at full gross.
Sure.
It was amazing. And then cruise is about 105. Our ground speeds were as high as 135. And that's at 6.2 to 6.5 gallons an hour.
Yeah, that's not bad at all for that kind of horsepower.
Yeah.
What? How
I took
slow?
it all the way up to 11.5 just to see what it, how it would perform up there, and playing with the winds and things like that as far as altitudes go, and absolutely incredible. It didn't take very long to get up there at all.
And with this STI wing, how slow will it go?
42.
Yeah. So I did a series of power on and power off stalls, full and zero flaps, all of the whole range, the whole gamut. And my slowest stall speed was power on 33 miles an hour.
Power on, wow.
Yeah.
And you were probably just aiming at the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even have full power on that when I did it.
You can't go full power because
Yeah.
you're going to just turn into a helicopter.
So.
And the stall on this is so benign.
You don't even know you're stalling.
You're in a parachute, basically. It barely breaks.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the questions I like to ask a lot of builders at the end of their build is, what was the most challenging and what was the most rewarding?
The most rewarding, probably the takeoff Saturday morning.
Right.
The most challenging was working through the Avionics gremlins and thinking that I had done something wrong in the wiring, and it turned out that it was a bad part, causing quite a few days of pulling your hair out. But we worked through it. You know, I had the support of the guys at Midwest Panel, and we worked through it and determined it, in fact, was a bad part, and it wasn't the wiring. All the indications pointed to wiring, and so that's where you go first.
Sure.
You know, we did have an issue with the engine as well. We had a bad voltage regulator, and that took a couple days to diagnose. That was probably the most, disappointing parts or challenging parts, because I know electricity goes from one place to another. I know how to put it on this end and put it on that end, but the stuff that happens, the magic in the middle, I don't really understand all of that. So the most rewarding is seeing her smile.
Good answer, hubby.
No, it really was. When we took a selfie with the DAR and her smile,
Awesome.
that was it.
Awesome.
Jeanne Henry, a Kitfox Series 7, November 8, 22, Hotel Juliet.
congratulations to Jay and Jeanne Henry for winning the Kit Champion Bronze Lindy Award.